as far as mixed numbers go, and you'll hear a lot of different opinions or preferences is what teachers want. When we were to look at a number like, say, 10 thirds, a lot of teachers would say that's an improper fraction because our numerator, again, the top of our fraction, is larger than the denominator, the bottom of our fraction. But you're going to see in this course, I almost like it better as a mixed number because when you, as an improper fraction, when we look at this as being able to use our operations, our multiplying, our dividing, especially a common denominator when we have to add or subtract fractions, sometimes that improper fraction can be more useful. But I want to show us how to convert back and forth. Again, a fraction is nothing more than division. This is saying a 10 divided by a 3. Well, you would ask yourself, well, how many times does that 3 go into that 10? I would say it goes into it 3 total number of times. That would be 3 times 3 is 9. I would have 1 left over of my 3. Now, if you think about this in terms of those candy bars again, what this would mean is I have 3 total candy bars. And of that last candy bar, if I had a third one, think of this each as my thirds, my thirds, my thirds. It's the same as 3 total parts, but what this means is I have 3 candy bars, 1, 2, 3 candy bars, that if I ate all of those, one nice lunch, right? 3 candy bars. Look at that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Was that 3 times 3 was 9? And that 10th was our 10 over 3. We still have the total number of parts. We still have that numerator is how many of those parts I'm eating. That 3 1/3 is the same as the mixed number of this improper fraction. But again, when talking about terms of reducing or unreducing, if I were to say multiply by 2, I could say that 10 over 3 is the same as, well, if I double each of them, that's 20 over 6. That would be the same as, like we said last time, if I cut each of those in half and I were to count out, I would say there's 20 over 6 is how many parts there are in the candy bar now. But that 20 over 6 is still a lot easier to deal with when we talk about our fractions. As we see with our operations next, it's a little bit more complicated when talking about with an improper fraction. We can still do it, but it's a little bit more complicated because you still have all these other numbers. But the idea of the division, 3 goes into 10 3 times. Again, coincidental. Those 2 3s have nothing to do with each other. Let's look at another example. Say we had like 12 over 5. I would look at myself as unrelated to the last problem. Well, this is division. 5 goes into 12 2 times, right? 2 times 5 is 10. That would be like we had 2 total candy bars. We'd have 10 total parts. But what that means is if we had 10, that would mean we'd have 2 over 5 left over. Again, this is my improper fraction. This is my mixed number. That is saying the same thing, but some teachers will say this is more reduced. Some teachers will want us to leave it in this form because this is still the same 12 apples to 5 oranges. When we're talking about a ratio, this is sometimes more the useful form. Well, the same way that we can go from improper to mixed number, I want to talk about going from mixed number to an improper fraction. Say, and I'm making this number up, 3 1/4. The same way we would say this is division. I want to say 12 divided by 5 is 2. And what's my remainder? 2 over 5. Again, those 2's are unrelated to one another. Well, the same way that was division and subtract, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to take that 3 times my 4. I'm going to be multiplying this time. 3 times 4 gives me that 12, which I then add to that 1. This would be saying the 13 over 4. That still means that I have 3 total candy bars. So the same way that I would say divide and subtract, I'm going to right now say multiply and add. Again, you can always convert back and forth between your improper fraction and your mixed number. This is still saying the same thing in each of those cases, but it just depends on which form we want. Do we want to talk about the improper where the numerator is larger than the denominator? we want to talk about it as the mixed number. It's just a matter of which one you want for that particular problem.